Today we will talk about true facts about the mechanically stabilized Earth retaining wall. The mechanically stabilized Earth retaining wall, as the name might imply, is a retaining wall that uses mechanically stabilized Earth. As a structure used commonly in the civil engineering field, mechanically stabilized Earth retaining walls serve many different functions, acting sometimes as seawalls and other times as abutments for highway bridges. Sometimes they are just constructed to sit there and look pretty. Hey there, gorgeous. Mechanically stabilized Earth You know what? This name is way too long to say for the rest of this video. From now on, we will refer to these as MSE walls. MSE walls are very easily discussed when broken down into their two components. So to make life a whole lot easier, we will first talk about the MSE and then talk about the wall. Mechanically stabilized Earth is commonly known as reinforced Earth in the international community, but in the United States of America, this name has not become publicly used. This is probably because the US does things better than everybody else. For more examples of the US doing things better than everybody else, see also the rejection of the metric system, the US's superior incarceration rates, and of course, Miley Cyrus.
I came in like a wrecking ball. I never hit
The world's greatest demolitions expert. So the first thing you might ask yourselves is this: how did MSE walls come into being? Well, when a mommy retaining wall and a daddy retaining wall love each other very, very much. Just kidding. They came into being in the 1960s, thanks to the efforts of a French architect and engineer named Henri Vidal. In 1971, the first MSE wall was built in the US on State Route 39 in Los Angeles. Oh, wait a second, this is good. I'm actually reading here that over 1,000 years ago, in China, they used to make earthen dikes reinforced with tree branches. That means it took at least 1,000 years for soil reinforcement to become a regulated thing. Good job, civil engineering. The first type of retaining wall is called the gravity wall. This wall relies on gravity to hold back all of the soil behind it and keep itself from sliding. Which is exactly what I would say if I weighed that much. Just like the token fat kid on a tug-of-war team, the gravity retaining wall has played a vital role in the development of retaining walls over the years. This one, called the cantilever wall, has a heel that extends into the soil at its base. This heel increases the area of the base exposed to the soil, which increases the frictional forces on it, holding it back. This type of retaining wall also has soil on top of the heel, which helps to keep it from overturning. So instead of using its own weight, it uses the soil to help it out as well. The third type of retaining wall is called the anchored wall. This wall uses an anchor, usually one that consists of concrete injected into the soil. If I were the soil in this scenario, I would feel very shortchanged, since the wall proceeds to cling to the earth like a very drunk man who's afraid of falling in the upward direction. Now that I think about it, I'd feel pretty bad if I were the retaining wall in this scenario too. The fourth kind of retaining wall is a sheet pile retaining wall, also commonly known as an eye wall. Upon first hearing its name, many people immediately think the eye wall is a selfish type of retaining wall, because after all, there's no I in team. However, the real reason this is named an eye wall is because if you were standing next to the wall and looking down it, it would look like an eye that extends off into the horizon. All four of these types of walls are in use today, and they still function well, but they require a large volume of concrete to construct. MSE walls solve this problem by reinforcing the soil behind the wall, thereby reducing the lateral earth pressures acting on it. MSE walls have many advantages over gravity walls, all fat jokes aside. The construction of an MSE wall requires very little space in front of the wall, which helps if you plan to build a wall next to a busy highway. Less concrete and heavy machinery are needed, although I wouldn't suggest building a big one with your bare hands. Overall, an MSE wall can cost anywhere between 25 to 50% less than a gravity wall. And now, landslides. don't want this to happen, I suggest you use proper reinforcement for your MSC retaining wall. What's that? You're not building an MSC retaining wall? Then why the hell are you watching this video? Well, it's your time, I guess. Among the many reinforcement possibilities for the soil behind an MSC wall, some of the more popular choices are steel wire mesh, polypropylene, polyethylene, and polyester. Polyester especially has many other uses outside of retaining walls. There was once a young geotechnical engineer who approached his boss and asked, "Boss, why don't we use recycled polyester fabrics for reinforcement material behind retaining walls? It would most likely save us a lot of money, and would be recycling too." To which the boss replied, "That's stupid, you're stupid." It fired the young engineer for his silly idea. Besides the reinforcement, there are many possibilities when it comes to the facing element of an MSC wall. Of the different facing systems, there are segmental precast concrete panels, gabions, segmental precast concrete blocks for smaller walls, and geosynthetics. Of all of the facing systems, the gabions might come as a big surprise. Gabion walls are special because they allow drainage of water from behind the wall. Water behind a retaining wall can do some pretty terrible things. You know, I need a break from speaking. Here's a video of a man whose voice will make you appreciate mine, inspecting a retaining wall that failed because of water.
Hi, I'm Joe Kowalski, the retaining wall expert. Today we're going to discuss water and the damage water can do to a retaining wall if the water's not collected and removed properly. Here's a view along the top of the wall. You can see that most of the wall is in really good shape. This close end obviously had a significant failure that will cost several $1,000s to repair. However you want to define it, we have success or failure. We've confirmed that the water from that building is being dumped into the back side of this retaining wall, which directly caused this big mess.
I'm back! Gabions may prove to be essential in further developments in retaining walls, such as living walls. Living walls have plants growing in them, which helps with absorbing water and, of course, holding the soil together. Just a thought for the future. This True Facts video was completed as part of a final project submission for a Geotechnical Engineering 2 class at FGCU. For more information on MSC retaining walls, feel free to refer to the other half of the submission, an article titled Introduction to Mechanically Stabilized Earth Retaining Walls by John Baker. That's me.
I came in like a wrecking ball. I never hit so hard in love. All I wanted was to break your walls. All you ever did was wreck me. Yeah, you wrecked me. I put you high up in the sky and now